Is DAZN failing? We answer that next. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Morning Champion. Please remember to like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Also remember to leave a comment below. Eddie Hearn says DAZN is underperforming, plus a loaded weekend of boxing to get into. Let's start with Eddie Hearn and DAZN. His billion-dollar deal looks like it's in a bit of trouble, according to his own confession. He says it's underperforming. We haven't seen any metrics or anything like that. All we've seen is the crowds there, and it hasn't looked good for him. He's got another card headlined by Brandon Rios coming up in Kansas. I don't know how that's going to do, but we'll see. Look, this is brand new. It's a brand new concept, one that's totally subscription based. It's $10 a month, so this wasn't a short-term investment. I get that, but this thing does look like it's in trouble, and I want it to work. Right? I know you guys know how I feel about Eddie Hearn, and I think he's a low-class human being, but that's not. I want this to do well because I want boxing to do well, and if this does well, it's good for boxing. But it doesn't have the names right now. It has that big deal with Canelo, and that's about it. It needs some of those PBC names, those names that resonate with Americans. It needs superstars on the come-up. And I want to read a quote to you from what Eddie Hearn just said. He said, "We've got 8 world champions already signed. I want to name a couple of them: Usyk, Andrade, Jacobs, Beterbiev, Hooker, Danny Roman. We've got Jarrell Miller, but we still need someone like Mikey Garcia or Charlo." That's what he told the World Boxing News. He went on to say, people are just hanging on for dear life. If you look at what Showtime are doing, now when we talked about pay-per-view earlier, Showtime doesn't have one championship night scheduled at all. But they have 3 pay-per-views scheduled: Wilder and Fury in December, Pacquiao Broner in January, Spence and Garcia in February. So they are having to say to those fighters, we'll give you a pay-per-view date to keep them. But it will just have to take time for those fighters to realize that those pay-per-views won't hit the numbers that equate to the numbers we are offering them. DAZN is a very aggressive business who wants everything now. and that's why the Canelo deal happened. They could have waited, okay. So he's basically going on to say that Showtime is hanging on for dear life, and that's why they're giving these guys these pay-per-view deals. If you listen to other podcasts, other radio shows, they like it when fights are on pay-per-view because they think it's some kind of career milestone. It's not good. It's bad, right? Like I was just listening to the Boxing Voice, and Ness and his crew was saying that, well, Danny Garcia, and Adrian Broner would have to be a pay-per-view. Why do you want to spend $80 for these fights, or $70 for these fights? Doesn't make any sense. It's bad for boxing. When Bob Arum and Top Rank put everything on pay-per-view back in the early part of the 2000s, it killed boxing. It was bad for boxing. If you want to build these superstars, you have to give them a free platform, or an expensive platform. Like think about it this way: if the Super Bowl, which does well over 100 million views every year, and people and companies spend $3 to $4 million for a 30-second advertisement spot, if they said they were going to charge you $80 to watch the Super Bowl, would you watch it? No, you wouldn't watch it unless you were a fan of the team. Think of it this way: the NBA playoffs do fantastic rates. If the NBA gave you all the regular season games for free, in the first round and the second round, they put their playoff games on ESPN, and in the conference finals, they put their conference finals on Showtime and HBO, and then for the NBA championship, they put it on pay-per-view. Would you get more or less spectators that way? It's a terrible, terrible platform. To make people pay for the best stuff possible is awful. It's a terrible idea, right? And it works for a couple of names, but Mayweather, people will pay for it. Oscar, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, fine. But it's a dumb concept, right? It was the only way that they could get those guys paid. But now there are different avenues. DAZN is a wonderful avenue. ESPN with Crawford, they just gave him a big deal, right? Like this is a new path. We need to figure out a way to make this work. Showtime putting these guys on pay-per-view is good. It's a short-term gamble, and it'll pay off in the short term, but it will fail in the long term as we're going away from the pay-per-view model. Look, I would rather spend $10 a month, $120 a year, and get all the DAZN fights than pay for these 3 fights alone. These 3 fights alone, the 3 Showtime pay-per-views, are going to cost me over $200. Or I can get, for like half that price, I can get DAZN for a year. Which one's smarter? Which one makes more sense? So this is what people have to look at, right? The pay-per-view model was never good for boxing. It was always bad for boxing. It makes no sense. There is money to put a fight on Fox, where people advertisers will spend money to advertise during that time spot. It works for Super Bowl. Why couldn't it work for boxing? It could, right? Thurman and Garcia fought on network television. They both got paid. So I like what Eddie Hearn is doing. But this is a brand new platform. This is a brand new idea that Eddie Hearn and DAZN is bringing out, right? It's fully subscription based. Okay? So what does that mean? Well, it's like, think of your gym membership, right? Does the gym care if you go to the gym? No. They just care that they get your $10 a month. Once you get your foot in the door and you sign that, they just hit your bank account for $10 a month. Or $10 a month for a gym. It's probably $50 a month. Whatever your gym charges, right? Well, that's what DAZN wants to do. DAZN doesn't care if you watch any of their fights. They just want your $10 a month. So how do they get your $10 a month? Well, I tell you how they don't get it, and that's Jesse Vargas versus Thomas Delorme. How do they get it? They need some of those PBC names, the Spencers, the Charlos, the Swift Hurts, the Tank Davises. They need those names. Those are the names that will get the casual fan in America to shell up $10 a month. And then you just need to sprinkle in good fights once in a while so that they don't cancel their subscription. But at $10 a month, many Americans won't even know it's coming out. I was paying something like $2 a week for a newspaper. I didn't even know I was paying for it. Right? So it's just one of those things. It's $10 a month. It's not going to kill people, and they may even forget to cancel it. And then once they go to cancel, oh well, that Charlo fight, or that Tank Davis fight, or that Jared Swift Hurts fight is coming up next month. I'll just keep it. That's how you get their money, right? And you can get millions of people to do this way, and you can grow the sport internally. The pay-per-view model shrinks the sport. It shrinks the fan base. This has at least the potential to grow the fan base because it's only $10 a month. I'm going to drop HBO. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to drop HBO. Why? Because they don't have boxing anymore. I'll gladly pay my $10 a month for this, even though right now the fights are a bit crap. But I'm a hardcore, so if you want the casual, you have to get those names I talked about. You have to get some of those names. Sean Porter. Well, they got Manny Pacquiao, which is good. No, they don't got Manny Pacquiao. What am I talking about? Manny Pacquiao went to PBC, but they need to get Spencers, the Charlos, the Swift Hurts, the Tank Davises. They need to get those guys, those names, the names that American fight fans like. Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner. But they don't have any of those guys. They need to get them. If they don't get them, this is going to fail. That's just the way they've put a lot of money into this, which means they need to get a big return. I don't see them doing that if Usyk, who I love, I'm a huge Usyk fan. But if that's the best that they can do, then it's not gonna turn a profit for them. They're in big trouble. Look, he's got Canelo, he's got Danny Jacobs. Cash in on that. You got Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. You need to sell on that fight. You need to sell that fight. You need to make Usyk out to be as the superstar that he is. You need to make him out to be the big, roided up version of Vasyl Lomachenko. That's what he is. That's what you're getting, right? And sell him as that. I don't know if he can beat Anthony Joshua, but if he put a highlight reel together of Usyk, that guy's a crazy athlete for somebody that size and build, right? So, sell him. And Anthony Joshua's easy to sell. You sold him in the UK. Sell that fight. Sell Jacobs and Canelo. And that's a start. And then you have to sign some of these people. Get Tank Davis. Whatever you need to do to get Tank Davis over there, get him over there. There's an article on 3dboxingblog.com on how to rebuild Tank Davis, on how to rejuvenate his career. Check that out. But he may need a guy like Eddie Hearn because a Farmer Tank Davis fight has a lot of luster. It does. So these are the types of fights that you need to make. I don't know if you can get there, and if you can't get there, you're going to fail. Hearn said that purse bids are going to be really big to us. And really, come on. Mandatories that nobody cares about. That's going to be big to you. That's a recipe for failure. Because think about what you're doing, Eddie Hearn. You're overpaying. If you're going to win that purse bid, you're going to overpay for a mandatory. And second of all, you just lost one, right? You lost Hooker in Salcedo. Hooker's your guy. You lost him. You lost his fight. So you're not even good at this. You're not even good at overpaying for crap fights, right? If that's your plan, you failed at it, and it's a bad plan. Like, you need to get these borderline superstars that can become crossover superstars. Get Charlo. Get both of them. Get Hurt. Get Tank Davis. Okay? And I don't even like Eddie here. I just want to see this thing succeed because I like boxing, right? So I want this to work. Eddie Hearn, feel free to reach out to me. We can go over all this. I can show you how to make this thing work. 3D Boxing blog, all forms of social media. Eddie Hearn, it's a free invitation. I will give you free advice on how to make this thing work in the U.S. because you obviously have no idea. But let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. Do you guys think DAZN is failing? I think it's in a lot of trouble. And do you think they can? It's $1 billion investment. Do you think that they can recoup that money? And if so, how? I want to get into this weekend's action too. Give you a quick recap. Josh Taylor put on a classic performance against Ryan Martin. He went to the body when the body was open. He went upstairs when the head was open. It was a great performance. He put on. It looked like a quality sparring session. Like I said, he went to the head when the head was open. He went to the body when the body was open. He threw beautiful combinations, and he got out of dodge and made Ryan Martin miss. He bottled Ryan Martin up, and Martin did not look like a blue chip prospect, no pun intended. He didn't let his hands go. It was a masterful performance by Josh Taylor. However, moving forward against either Baranchik and then eventually Regis Prograis, if he gets there, Josh Taylor's got a major problem. He doesn't counter. Go watch him. Go back and watch the fight again and see what I'm talking about. He's got great head movement. He makes you miss. And then he steps back and looks to reset on the outside or from that left hook at the mid-range. He doesn't counter. If you do that with Baranchik or potentially with Prograis, they're going to beat you to death on the inside because they're going to let their hands go. And you're not going to be able to step back and reset because they're going to be clubbing you to death. I hope that makes sense. But go back and watch it. Go back and watch the Josh Taylor with Ryan Martin fight and just count how many counter shots. And I know, look, there's not a ton of opportunities because Ryan Martin just didn't let his hands go, so he didn't have much to counter. But when he did, he just steps back and looks to reset from the outside. That is not going to fly against Baranchik, and I'm not picking Baranchik. We will get to that as we get close to that fight. But that's not going to work against him. Now I need to go back and watch more Josh Taylor to see if this is a recurring trend. And it's not going to work. It's for sure not going to work against Prograis. If he fights that fight, as good as he looked, if he fights that fight against Regis Prograis, it'll be a quick night for Regis Prograis. But just go back and watch that fight. Tell me how many counter shots Josh Taylor landed. I guarantee you it's between 0 and 2. And I wanted to touch on Ryan Martin just a little bit. He just did not let his hands go. He had a sparring partner's mentality, and it is what it is. I don't mean to belittle the guy or degrade the guy. He looks like he's got skills, but really, that's how he fought. He would not let his hands go. It's a shame. He's an athletic, skillful fighter. His head just, for whatever reason, not right, and didn't fight to win. So we'll be back to the drawing board for him. Next, the Filipino Flash is back. Well, kinda. Donaire looked good. I'm a big Donaire fan. I was a big fan of his back, a decade ago, whatever. He's 36 now. Landed some nice shots. He won the first round against Ryan Burnett, which I have Ryan Burnett, 3D Boxing has Ryan Burnett number 10 on our pound-for-pound list, so you can see the regard that we hold Ryan Burnett in. And they showed that in the second round. So it was 1 round to 1 after the first 2 rounds. The third round was a back and forth coin toss, highly competitive. Donaire landed some good clean shots when he had Burnett up against the ropes, and Burnett boxed well and landed a lot of clean shots. So that round could have gone either way. And in the fourth round, Burnett was doing really well. He got hurt. Looks like he threw his back out. It's a shame, too, because the fight was getting really interesting, and I wanted to see how it unfolded. But he hurt his back. He fell to the canvas, got up. Donaire jumped on him to end the round. Went back to the corner, and that was the end of the fight. He couldn't continue because of the back injury. Donaire looked good. I don't want to belittle Donaire's performance. He looked really good. The only thing I would ask is, with the weight loss, because he's coming down from 126 to 118, I wanted to see how he looked in the later rounds. Was he going to be fatigued? Was he going to be drained from the weight loss? 8 pounds for a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of pounds to start with, for a 118-pounder, that is a ton of weight. That is a ton of weight. I think 118 is right for him, but I don't know yet, and I won't know until I see him get into the later rounds. We're going to get to see him again against Alani Tete. And I'm picking Donaire. Now, I know I just said with the Branchik and Josh Taylor fight, I wasn't picking winner because I'm not sure who's gonna win that fight. I'm sure I'm picking Donaire to beat Zolani Tete. I was completely unimpressed with Tete's last fight. He was fighting a guy who only had a handful of fights in Mikhail Oloyan, or whatever, however you say that, but it was not a good performance. I've never been a huge fan of Tete. I know a lot of people picked him to do really well in this tournament. I didn't. I thought he would have no chance against Burnett, and I think Donaire's going to stop him. I'm going to pick Donaire to win by knockout. And as we get close to that fight, I will tell you what round, but I'm definitely going to pick Donaire to win by stoppage. I thought Donaire looked really good against a guy who I thought Burnett had a chance to pull the upset if he got to the finals against the Monster. I really did. I think Burnett's that skilled of a fighter. That fight's not going to happen now, so it's irrelevant, but I think that we will get Donaire in the finals of that tournament, which is kind of crazy because everyone thought he was done. Finally, Miguel Chell is a monster. He absolutely annihilated Mickey Roman via 9th round TKO, just like the fight doctor called on Tuesday's episode. I'm sorry, it was Friday's episode. It was on Friday's check hook. The fight doctor predicted that fight, and he picked the fight doctor, picked Chell to win by 9th round TKO, and the fight doc got the round right. Bang. It was ultra competitive for the first 3 rounds. It looked like Chell and Roman were going to put on World War III, Mexican World War III in my great state of Texas, in El Paso. But they got one-sided after that. It was crazy, though, the first couple of rounds, how one-sided ESPN's broadcast was, which is weird because Berchel's the future. Berchel's an animal. They have big fights they can make with him. But they were just totally entertaining Roman, telling me how good he was doing. And he had moments, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he won any rounds. And do you guys think they were telling me he was landing he landed good hook, but then he ate 4 of them. It's like, are we watching the same fight here? I didn't understand why they were so in the tank for Mickey Roman. I love Roman. All due respect to Roman. He's from Juarez, which shares the border with Texas. I'm a fan. But this was, he got dismantled. He got beaten up, especially as the fight went on. And then they said how brave he was. Sure, he was brave, but, I mean, he just basically took a beating. It was a nasty one-sided beatdown. Look, Berchelt is a killer. And he's in a division with Tank Davis, which would be a ton of fun. I really would love that. However, and this is a good consolation prize, they said more likely than not, next year we will get a Loma versus Berchelt fight. Woo-wee. Don't sleep on Berchelt in this fight. He stalks and destroy. Seek and destroy. That style could be all wrong for Loma if he makes it a grind. Because he's a better seek and destroy fighter than Salido. And I don't want to be the only guy that goes, Salido beat Loma. But he did. Berchelt's better than that. And he's more skilled than Salido. So, if he can turn this fight ugly, don't sleep on Berchelt. He's going to make this thing a phone booth fight, or at least try to. And if he can, I don't think Loma's going to like that. I think Loma's going to lose his cool. Look, Loma's a little hothead. We've seen this before. I think if you can get him in a grind, you can beat him. And I think, and I'm not picking, we don't even know if this fight's going to happen. What I'm saying is don't sleep on Chell. If he can make it ugly, he can win. And I think he can make it ugly. But let me know what you guys think. Just to recap this weekend's action, Chell destroys Mickey Roman. Nonito Donaire and Josh Taylor advance in the World Boxing Super Series. Leave your thoughts, comments below. Let me know what you think. For Sunday Morning Champion, this is 3D Boxing signing off, saying thank you and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.